All right, welcome back, you guys. So, when I'm not at work at the dealership, what do I do on my spare time or on the weekend, such as today, like a Sunday? Well, you're looking, you're looking at it. So, what I do on my spare time is, again, still working on cars. This is also a buddy's car. He wants to get his car ready for track day. Um, so, what he wants me to do is he wants me to do pads and rotors on the front, change his oil, and then change the dot four or change it over to dot four brake fluid. So that's what I'm doing today for him on a Sunday while he's, I think he's going to play badminton while he waits for his car to be finished. But other than that, I got it on jack stands. I'm going to take the wheels off. We're going to swap out the pads and rotors on the front. We're also going to change the brake fluid, and then I'll do the oil change last. So that's the plan. So let me go ahead and take the wheels off all around, and yeah, let's get started. By the way, if you haven't noticed, it's a Toyota 86, not a Scion FRS like it used to be, because Scion's not around anymore. So yeah, it's kind of weird because back in the day, I also had a friend who has a Scion FRS, and I actually drove his brand new Scion FRS from the dealership home for him because he didn't know how to drive stick, so I drove his car home for him. And also I let him learn on how to drive standard on my 92 Honda Civic hatchback. It was also an SI. All right, so we're over into the driver's side, and get your 14 millimeter, take the bottom bolt out. You can flip the caliper up, and then you can slide the caliper out. See if we do this with one hand. Yeah, just slide the caliper out. Right. Okay, we're gonna put this. Piss off the internet and let it hang it by the hose. Okay, hold on. Let me turn on that light. Yeah, there we go. Where can I put it? I'll just put it right there. There, looks good. Okay. So he said that his brakes was at 3 mil, so this doesn't look like 3 mil. But I think he just wanted to change them because he want to upgrade his brake pads. So I'll probably throw these back into the box for him. Right? And then if you're changing rotors, right, and you don't have an on-car brake lathe, you can leave the bracket on to machine it if you have an on-car brake lathe. But if you're changing rotors, just take these bolts out. Right? These two are 19. Make sure you torque them to spec when you're putting it all back together. And then, then you need something to push in the pistons on your calipers. You can use a C-clamp. You gotta make sure you use a brake pad to put it behind it. And especially if you have dual pistons, make sure you're pushing both of them at the same time, because if you push one of them, the other one's gonna pop out, and then you're not gonna have a very good day because all that brake fluid's gonna come out. But yeah. And the other hard part is if it's seized onto the hat, like the hat is seized onto the hub. Yeah, you might have to do some hammering to get it off. But I had somebody in the comments, they were saying, yeah, he took her car to the shop, and they wanted to change pads and rotors. I mean, you can change pads and rotors. I mean, you can spend the extra money on the parts. But, if you take it to a Honda dealership, if you own a Honda, and as long as you own your Honda, you just got to do your brakes once, and your pads are covered for, I guess, the life of the vehicle, or as long as you own your vehicle. That's what we have here in Canada. I don't know about the U.S. Somebody can chime in down in the comments. Let me know if it's the same in the U.S. But yeah, your pads are covered lifetime, as long as you just got to do it once, like on each axle. Like you do your front brakes; those are covered for the life of the. I guess you own your vehicle, and if you do it on the rear, and each axle, then you're covered for life for the rears. But yeah, all you got to do is pay for labor, unless you got to replace. They machine it and it's under spec, and then you got to replace rotors. Then yeah, you got to pay for rotors. But sometimes people, $100 is a lot for some people, you know, especially here in Canada, thanks to you know who, you know, all inflation and everything, cost of living, and you know, price of food. You know, everything's gone up, and everybody's going to the food bank for stuff. So $100 can go a long way in you know feeding people's mouths, right? So yeah, you know, Mr. JT Justin Timberlake. No, I'm just kidding, not Justin Timberlake. You know. And if you're like me and hammering the rotor doesn't get it off, there are a couple of holes you can run a bolt through, and then try to do this with one hand. I should really get a tripod or a new camera rather than just use my phone all the time. But yeah, if hammering doesn't get the rotor off, you just gotta run a bolt through, and then it's just gonna push the rotors off the hub. Okay, so once you get the rotors off the hub, I usually just take the new rotor and just make sure that's the same exact size before sticking it in, because I've seen some stuff as you could say, like I have customers that never been to our dealership before, and you know they've only taken it to a aftermarket shop or you know a jobber shop. They put on smaller rotors with a bigger set of pads, and there's like this much that sticks over, and it starts like, you know, the rest of the pad kind of wears fine, but as the pad wears down, there's part of the pad that kind of overhangs the edge of the rotor. So I've seen that plenty of times at work when they're coming for a noise complaint on their brakes. There was one time I think I got into an accident, and like the whole left side of the suspension is completely different. They just put something completely different. It's not even the correct caliper or you know, rotor pads. It's like it's from like a base model Civic onto a Civic that's like an SI, like something like that. It was something ridiculous. I don't know how shops are able to get away with that. But yeah, anyways, let's throw on this pad. Let's throw on this rotor, and then we're gonna throw on the pads, push into pistons, and then we're done on this side. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna change out the brake fluid. And if your new set of brake pads doesn't come with new hardware, so guess what? You're going to be cleaning those, and then you're going to re-lube these slide pins. Yeah, so get yourself some brake clean, a wire brush, and then get cleaning. Okay, now we have everything pretty much put back together, but we got to tighten the two big bolts from the caliper bracket to the knuckle. That thing is 100 foot-pounds. That's 100. And then this bolt here, 14 millimeter, 19 foot-pounds. All right, so everything's done on this side. Not too hard. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do the other side, and then I'm gonna do the brake fluid. All right, so brake fluid's all done. Hope you can hear me from the all the noise, but since I'm at it, I might as well change his clutch fluid that's down here. And here's the reservoir for it. All right, so brake fluid's done, clutch fluid's done. Now I gotta do the oil change. Couple of things. I wanna make sure I top up his fluid, like his coolant. Right, I think it's empty. So the question is, does it take Toyota pink coolant or Subaru blue coolant? Because it's completely empty. Yeah, completely empty, so it looks, oh yeah, it's blue coolant. Okay, make sure I got, well, I don't have Subaru coolant, so I gotta go pick that up. But other than that, I'm gonna do the oil change the filter that's over there, and then drain it from underneath. He also needs tires. They're on the wear bars. So hopefully he has a set of tires for his track day.